Hey everyone, it's the Snowman with TooLoud2OldMusic.com. Welcome back to Retro Rock Reviews. And this week we're still in the 90s like last week, and we're gonna tackle a song that came out on August 21st, 1990. And it is by a band that everyone knows as a Christian rock band. We're gonna talk about Stryper and their album Against the Law. This album, as you can see from the cover and on the back, and everything about this thing is there is no yellow and black like they normally have dressed. They completely ditched all that. They went and did away with all the Christian themes, and they pretty much abandoned everything that they believed in, at least they say they believed in at the time, mainly to prove the critics wrong. They were constantly being bashed by the critics for their Christian base and stuff, and they were tired of it. So they just completely abandoned it and went to this new route. And as a result of that, Michael Sweet thinks this is the worst Stryper album because, again, it abandoned everything they believed in and went against all of that. So I just completely think he's wrong. To me, this is probably one of the best albums that they've ever put out. It's just a heavy, heavy album, much darker, and I kind of like this more than I did the earlier stuff. I mean, I do like To Hell with the Devil. I think that's a fantastic album. In God We Trust lost me a little bit. Good songs on it, but they got me back on Full Tilt. And when this album popped in 1990, I definitely ran out and grabbed it. Now, I don't remember if I got cassette or CD, but most likely CD since this is 1990. I was fully in to CDs by then. So let's get into the music and what we have here. That opening track, the title track, Against the Law. It starts off a little bluesy, but mostly it's a straight up rock and roll track. The song is a blatant attack on Christian music critics and shows the anger, the bitter resentment that the band had against them. I mean, they came out middle finger and everything, kicked this album off. The drums on here by Robert Sweet are just banging. His sound is immense throughout this whole album. And I'm gonna repeat that in some later song. Robert Sweet really kills it on this album. And another thing I've noticed on the album and the production, it's great production and everything. The bass is actually seems to be higher in the mix too. And I really like what Tim Gaines does on the bass here. As far as guitar work, you have Oz Fox, Michael Sweet. They do a great job. Just and on this song, it is just killer. There's this massive scream that Sweet does at the end of the song. I mean, it should be up there with a lot of the great screams in rock. I mean, it is just killer. So great bold statement to kick off this album with. Really love this track. So kudos on that one. Next up, we get Two Time Woman. It's another up-tempo rocker. It's more of powerful drums, and the theme of this album again is the drums. Robert Sweet just kills it. This song is melodic. Michael's voice is better than ever, I think, on this one. The backing vocals, I think, need to be pointed out here because the backing vocals were done by one of my favorite singers, Jeff Scott Soto. And he does a lot of backing vocals on this album. And I can hear him when we get to those songs and he's on there. So it's pretty cool to have him on there. There's some slide guitar solo in here, and that is pretty cool. And again, you get more Michael Sweet screams, and man, he can belt them out, no problem. Then we get this massive rock anthem with "Rock the People." This is something you'd hear up and down the Sunset Strip in the '80s. I mean, it's just heavy up tempo. It's probably not as heavy as the first two tracks, but it's still up there pretty good. I would say it's actually the weaker of the three, but no way I would skip this one. It's still a really good song. The guitar solo here, I'm guessing it's probably Sweet. He does most of them. Uh, but it's pretty much the crowning achievement on this song is that guitar solo. So really great stuff. Good start. Then we get to Two Bodies, One Mind, One Soul. It starts off, I think it's going to be a ballad, and then you get into it a little bit, and boom, it's just another screaming rocker. It's like I, I like how after one of the choruses, Michael has this one long note that he keeps, and it just kind of blends out, and then the guitar solo bleeds into it. I just think that's killer. The way they do that, it's great. Michael's vocals are the main reason I think I'm a fan of this song, and I'm a fan of Stryper. I mean, his vocals are just some of the best, and he's still just as good now. The bass on this by Tim Gaines, it's also really great. And again, it's pushed to the front, so it really has a more impactful sound. So another fabulous song, one of my favorites on the album. Then we get Not That Kind of Guy. It's just a fun rock track. It kind of reminds me of Van Halen's Hot for Teacher. If you listen to the drums, Robert Sweet's just all over the drums on this. And so give it a listen. Tell me what you think, because I think it's got some throwback or some homage to that song in some way. Lyrically, it's not going to win awards or anything. It's just a fun, mindless track that rocks. Does have a wicked guitar solo and some great drumming. Yeah, so kind of like that one. I think it's still a cool song. Then we get something that's completely out of left field, nothing I would have expected from them. And it's a cover of Earth, Wind, and Fire's song, Shining Star. And let me tell you, I think it's awesome. I think they do a great job of the song. Now, of course, if I'm going to listen to that song, it's going to be Earth, Wind, and Fire, but having it thrown in as a single here, not a single, but as a song on the album, I'm perfectly fine with that. They even get Randy Jackson to play bass on this, and he just funks the song up. I mean, it's really, really great. So great backing vocals again by Mr. Soto. I can hear him on this one. Strange choice for a cover, but really cool execution. They did a great job on that one. And I think this might have been a single because there's a video for it too. Uh, Next up is another song I really, really like, and it's called Ordinary Man, and it's kind of a sleaze rock. It's got that sleaze rock guitar riff on there. Totally 80s sound throughout. Michael's delivery though is amazing on the verses. He does it a little different in the way he sings it, but that chorus kicks in. It's just real catchy. It's just going to reel you right in. Another great song. Yeah, I mean, they're really killing it on this album, I have to say. And then we finally get to a ballad. And it is a ballad that should have been a big hit for these guys. It's called Lady. It opens with some acoustic guitars, and then the drums and the electric guitar comes in real soft, like it's a very slow down tempo. Michael softens his tone, but he can really just, he gives it a little edge, and he brings in the emotion and just makes you really feel this songs. It'll tug at the heartstrings like a good power ballad will do. I think that song should have been a hit. It wasn't. But yeah, it's a shame because it was really, really good. Then we get Caught in the Middle. And it might be the only song on the album that has any resemblance to the old Stryper sound. It really probably could have fit on To Hell with the Devil. It's another rocker. It's got the trademark Michael Sweet screams. The backing vocals are again. I'm sorry, I won't mention it anymore, but Soto does a good job on the backing vocals. I can hear him in that one. It's another song where Robert's drums are just pounding throughout the song. He's just kills this out. I mean, it's just phenomenal. He's a very underrated drummer, in my opinion. All right, All for One is another track. It kind of again goes back to the more Stryper sound that we know, hard, heavy, but it's a little bit darker in the style. I can hear a double bass kick drum on it. It's more kind of like a rock anthem. Would have been great live to hear this one. Vocals layered very nicely. I could see this one being an audience sing along. They might have dropped that Christian theme, but they kept it very positive because this song is a very positive song. Another killer track. And then the album closer. It's a song that kind of borders on speed metal. It's called Rock the Hell Out of You. And it's just blow your speakers with the shredding of the guitars. Your eardrums are going to explode. It's just powerful. Very priest-like too. I can hear Michael's kind of channeling Rob Halford on it as well. Just a solid, heavy track, and a great way to go out because you hear this song, you're ready to flip this thing back over and play it again. So I disagree with Michael Sweet and that this is their worst album. And I get why he does that. I mean, they did abandon everything they believed in and changed everything. But I mean, it is just a solid, heavy rock album. And to me, it's probably the best thing they've done. Yeah, I like a lot of their albums, even their new stuff. There's a band that's still killing it. Now, I think they're putting out well, Michael Sweet's putting out way too much because I am getting a little burnt on all the stuff that he's done. But if it was just Stryper, I mean, that would be ideal. So yeah, this is the last album they did for a long time. They kind of got very I don't know, disenchanted with everything. They didn't like how things were going, and Michael did a bunch of solo stuff in the 90s. But what a way to go out. Glad they came back later. But still, this is one of my favorite albums. This is of theirs. Easily a 5 out of 5 for me. Don't think there's anything skippable, and I'll just crank this from beginning to end. And just especially in the car, it's fun to have this one playing in the car. So let me know what you think about Stripers Against the Law and where I might have gone wrong, but I think I'm right. So anyway, thank you for watching. Click like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll come back next week with another 90s album. And we'll see you then. Have a good